Hello everyone, it's the Jadders here, and I'm here to bring you my review on HTC's brand new flagship device, the HTC One. Now, first I'm going to talk about the specifications, what's involved, what's all around the device, everything like that, and then I'm going to go to what I like about it and what I don't like about it, and all the features involved with this phone. So let's get started. Now, the HTC One features a 1.7 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 processor, 2 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM, and 32 and 64 gigabytes versions. That processor is probably one of the best processors you can get right now. The only thing faster is, I believe, this Samsung Galaxy S4, which is 1.9 gigahertz, and this is 1.7, but it's the same processor, and it's incredibly fast. Nothing is laggy at all. Everything goes just how you want it. There's no delay at all whatsoever in anything that you ever do. So I could definitely guarantee you this. You're not going to be disappointed with this processor. It's one of the best processors out on the market right now. Now, just looking around the device, on the left side we can see that we have a micro SIM tray. On the bottom we have a micro USB charging port, a microphone. On the right side we have a volume controls, just to let you control the volume obviously, and the top we have the headphone jack and the power button, which also doubles as an IR blaster, so you can control your television with it. On the front we have stereo speakers. On the front-facing stereo speakers, we have a 2.1 megapixel camera on the top, and just here we have some sensors. On the back we have a 4 megapixel camera, which I'll get to in a minute on my thoughts on that, and then a small LED flash for that as well, and then just the HTC logo obviously there. We can also see at the front, if you allow it, there is a small, as you can see it right there, the power button and the back button as well, just to see it there. Now, getting to the actual OS of the device, the HTC One is currently running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean with the HTC Sense 5 skin on top of it. Now, personally, I quite like the skin of HTC Sense 5. Some people disagree with me, some people just don't like skins in general. They prefer just stock Android or things like TouchWiz or any of the other skins that are available for Android. Personally, I quite like it. I like the sort of dark themes. I like the sort of clock sort of widget, which has a sort of like black and white color. I'm quite a fan of sort of darkish colors, and this sort of, I quite like the theme. I think it personally is quite cool, but it's not quite as cartoonish as TouchWiz is. But it's your own opinion really. Either you like the skin or you don't like it, or you prefer any other thing. So that's your own opinion on that. Just looking at the screen, we can see that the HTC One has a 4.7-inch display with a full 1080p display. So that's 1920 by 1080p, giving this screen resolution a PPI of 469. So that's one of the highest PPIs you can find on any screen in the market right now. It's very clear. I can tell you this is one of the best displays I've ever seen on any device. Period. It's just absolutely clear, crisp, sharp. It just looks great when you're reading text, when you're watching any kind of videos on it without rendered 1080p. It just looks absolutely amazing. And just looking at even images that are rendered for that, if I could just show you here, you have an image here and it's fully rendered for 1080p, and it's absolutely brilliant on it. I mean, I don't think my camera can really capture just how beautiful it looks, but it looks absolutely amazing to look at, and it just pops at you. It just looks so realistic, and it's definitely one of the best displays I've ever seen. For those of you who like these sort of benchmarks, I did take the liberty of running two different benchmarks. First, I ran Antutu benchmarks on it, and you can just see the score here, 23,766, which is very good score for the Antutu benchmarks, and it just shows you that processing power and just the raw power that the HTC One can produce. Next thing I did run was I ran Quadrant standard, and you can just see here, if I can just zoom in a bit on that, it's a very good score, definitely beating some of the very top devices, and so it's a very good score whatsoever. And I definitely say this phone, just when using it, you can really see the raw power of it when you're playing games or anything like that. Now, first talking about the things I like about this device. Obviously the screen is going to be one of them, but there are many different features about HTC One that I love. First, I do actually very much like blink feed. Now, if you don't know what blink feed is, it's basically kind of a version, sort of an HTC version, built-in version of Flipboard, and it basically just gives you sort of news feeds, updates. You can link this to your Facebook just like Flipboard, so you get updates on your Facebook status, anything like that. I just have it set to newsfeed because I just prefer to go to Facebook app to read my Facebook notifications. But and I just have it here, and you just click on one of them, you get a sort of nice story about them, and it's just good for just a 5 minute read or anything like that if you're just interested in sort of what's happening on with the world. Or I mainly have it set to sort of technology news and some sort of the latest news stories going on right now. So I guess something about here the Xbox One, which was just released, and things like that, just technology and some latest. And you can set it to whatever you want. So if you want sports, if you want just just any kind of news topic that you want, you have it there, right there, and it just automatically updates as well, and you can update it yourself, obviously, things like that. It's a very nice feature to have, and I really think the Android should have a built-in sort of thing. It's one of the things that is only available with HTC Sense 5 with HTC One, so Blink Feed only comes on HTC One, which is a bit disappointing. I would have liked other Android devices to have some kind of Blink Feed feature. I know they have some things like Flipboard widgets, but it's just really not the same. Some people don't like this, obviously. Some people there is no way to actually get rid of it. So if you can just see here in the home screen, the HTC Blink Feed is part of the home screen. You can't get rid of it. You can set it off to the side, so it'll be like at the end of your home pages, so it doesn't bother you if you if you're a person who prefers traditional Android with home pages like these. But it is nice there. For me, I quite like it. I use it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I was just going to set it off to the side, but I do enjoy reading on these, and I do enjoy having the news stories available to me. Now, one of the really highlighting features, in my opinion, of the HTC One is just the build quality on it. In my opinion, it is one of the best build qualities on any device I've ever seen. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's made out of brushed aluminium, so it's got this very nice sort of smooth feel to it. And it's a very, very nice phone. You hold it in your hand and it just feels like a premium device. It does not feel cheap at all in any way, and you can just tell that HTC really spent a lot of time just trying to get the design of it right. You could just see it looks great from any single angle that I've ever seen it on, and it's just absolutely fantastic. On the back, you just have this sort of very smooth brushed aluminium, and it's sort of curved in a way, so when you hold it in your hand, it doesn't feel doesn't dig into your hands. The edges don't dig into your hands as much as they can on some other devices that are sort of more rectangular and sort of very flat at the end. But you hold it in your hand, it just fits right, and it's absolutely fantastic feel. On the front, you can just see we have this sort of something similar to what I see on the iPhone 5, which is just they've sort of chamfered it at the end, and it's got a sort of a diamond finish, not diamond finish, but a sort of mirror finish on it. And it's sort of very shiny and very, very nice and very, very good. The only problem that I could actually ever see with the HTC One is that when you do tend to play a lot of graphic intensive games, things like that, it does tend to get slightly hot. Sometimes it just gets even hot for no reason. It's just because of the metal. It absorbs heat a bit more, so it just gets a bit hot sometimes when you're playing very graphic intensive games. But usually if you just leave it for 5 minutes, it will cool down. But the build quality is always going to be phenomenal on this. I mean, I don't think you can ever find a phone with a better build quality than this. I mean, I don't even think the iPhone has that. This device just feels so much nicer to hold than any other phone I've ever used, and it's just a testament to HTC. You're just trying to make the phone as good as possible. They've really been sort of trying to get the best phone out there. Just make no compromises on any sort of direction. Just very, very good. Very, very nice, and it's a brilliant phone in my opinion. Now, one of the things really discussed about the HTC One is just the camera on it. Now, the camera is a 4 megapixel camera on the HTC One, but what HTC termed this camera as an ultra-pixel camera, and what ultra-pixel mean is that the pixel size is actually a lot bigger. It's about 300 times bigger. So the lens is going to be able to capture a lot more light, and the image quality is going to be a lot better on it. And I can just tell you from my personal experience that the camera quality, despite being 4 megapixels only, is absolutely fantastic. It's just very good in low light situations. It's good in very normal light situations as well. It's an overall great camera despite the low megapixel count. And it just goes to show you that it's a lot more about the optics and just the design of the lens and all the hardware that goes into the camera, and just not the megapixels that sort of determine the quality of the camera. And I will show you some photos and videos that I've taken with the camera. Okay, so I've taken two photos of each image. The first photo is going to be taken from the iPhone 5, and the second photo of the same image is going to be taken from the HTC One camera. Now here I took two videos. The first video was of the iPhone 5 under a very dim lit room, and this was just to show that the HTC One's video quality under low light is not quite up to speed with other phones like the iPhone 5. Everything just seems to be slightly darker, and images just don't show, video quality just don't show up as well as other phones like the iPhone 5. And then I tried to do a HDR video to see if the image quality would improve, but it seemed to get this sort of red tint or hinge across everything, and it just seems a bit weird and doesn't seem to work very well. Now, talking about some of the features of the camera, there is a great amount of editing and just customization you can do with the camera. If you just go into this three dots here, you can click on it, and it gives you a whole load of different settings that you can do just to edit your camera videos, and it's very fantastic. You could go into loads of different things like white balance, the ISO, just the adjustment, what quality do you want the video, how big do you want the scene, do you want to just edit things about the video taking, just go slow motion video, fast, and you go video HDR as well, and just loads of different settings that you can do, and it's very good because it just brings you loads of different customized and it's a camera that you can do for loads of different situations. It's very nice to have that sort of ability to set the camera exactly how you want it, and it just wish more phones had this feature. Now, one of the things you can do about it is you have these sort of custom filters that you can put. It's kind of like Instagram in a way, but there are some other features. So if you go into one of these features here, you can see it's gone sort of circular, and it just sort of if I bring my hand across it, you can see there's sort of like a digital effect on it. Sort of weird effect on it. You have loads of different effects on it, and you can take pictures on it, anything like that. So you could just go into one here, and you can see sort of warping my hand in a way, just sort of weird like that. And it's very, very interesting, and it makes for some very interesting photos. Now, another feature that HTC have been talking about is HTC Zoe, and what Zoe is basically allows you to take a 3-second camera photo burst, and what it does is it basically converts the whole burst into a video, and basically like a 20 picture shot and converts to 3 seconds. And you could just see one here, a different example of my garden just right there, and it's a very short video. In practical terms, I don't really think I would ever use this in a sort of real world situation. I don't think it's a bit of a gimmicky feature that I don't really need it in normal stuff. I'd rather just take a video, and the video quality don't seem to be that much better. So it's a bit of a useless feature essentially, but it's nice to have it there if you like to take that sort of thing. But it's a bit of a useless feature really. Now, one of the best features about the HTC One is just the speakers on it. Now, the HTC One comes with Beats audio built right in, and also features stereo speakers on the front of the device, and this is something that I really wish that other phones would really try to adopt, because it just makes for a very good experience, and the music is very loud, sounds are very loud, very clear and very crisp. And I will be giving a separate video another separate video. I will be giving a clip of the HTC One's speakers against the iPhone 5s, which is a monologue speaker on the side. And I'll just show you the comparison between. But I can tell you the speakers are absolutely fantastic. Sound is clear, music is absolutely brilliant, voices are crisp and clear, and just makes it a very great experience when you're viewing, when you're listening to anything, any kind of music or any kind of video. Now, a lot of people, one thing a lot of people have been having a lot of gripe about is just the button placement on the HTC One. You can see right here on the bottom that we have the home button to the right and the back button to the left, and we have this huge HTC logo in the middle. Now, a lot of people have been saying, well, there was no need for that. They could have put a home button in the middle, and I agree with them. I've been having too much trouble with pressing the HTC logo. I've adjusted sort of pressing the home button on the side, but a lot of people have been complaining that, you know, they kind of press it and they think it's the home button, and it just creates a bit of frustration for them. And one personal opinion I have is that they could have just removed the logo and put a menu button instead, like they do on the Galaxy S4s and S3s, because if I just show you here, I go into one of the apps. Let's go into sort of Angry Birds here, Angry Birds Space. And you can just see we have, when we play the app, you have this huge sort of big black strip with these 3 dots on it. Just shut that off for you. And you can just see it doesn't even do anything most of the time. You just click it and it's just there. It's just taking up a lot of the screen. It's a bit of a pointless feature to have, and it acts as the menu button essentially in a way, but it just takes up a lot of the screen. And because the screen isn't one of the biggest, it's not a 5-inch or 5.5 if you're a Galaxy Note user. It's just a bit annoying because when you're playing a game and you have this big button here, it just irritates you. It's just kind of irritating. And it's very frustrating when you go on some things and you just want as much room on the screen as possible, and you just have this thing on here just distracting you and just constantly, sometimes you just even press it by accident. If I just show you here. So here, so I can just be there and I can just press it by accident and you have this weird thing going on. And it's just a bit of frustration. One more thing I've personally been complaining about is because the screen resolution is so high, there aren't a lot of apps really optimized for this sort of display. If I just show you here, if I go back into Angry Birds, you can see everything is quite small. If I go to play it here, you can see, if you could just see right at the top right, that's the score. That's telling you what my score is on the, and you can just see that everything's really, really tiny. It's because the resolution is so high, they kind of just sort of shrunk, sort of zoomed out the image and just made it bigger. And it makes a kind of an irritating experience because you can barely see anything. I can barely see the Angry Birds. I can barely read the numbers without sort of zooming in very close. And it just creates a sort of bad experience when you're using some apps. It just makes it sort of a very sort of bad experience. It may just look like a half-assed experience. Like they just made the image bigger and that's it. That's all they've done. And I really would have liked to see some sort of like a bit more optimized for it. Just try to bring the image a bit bigger and just increase the resolution. Just sort of not just sort of zoom the image out and then just make it bigger. Now, in terms of battery life, I've been getting very good battery on the HTC One. This one device here features a 2,300 mAh battery. It's not replaceable, and you can't remove the back, so you can't put any sort of micro SD card slot in it. But it is a very good battery life overall. Sometimes it can get sort of very hot, and it does this out of sort of random, no reason at all. It just sort of gets very hot, and there's a massive battery drain on it. It occasionally does that once every few days. And it just sort of drains the battery out, but overall it's been getting sort of very good battery life. I've been getting the whole day just going on Facebook, using things like Facebook, YouTube, email. I use my phone quite a lot during the day, so for me to have a full day of battery life and still have a bit left over, it's a very good battery life, I have to say. And you can obviously, if you want to save a bit of battery, you can obviously do things like route it to just suck a bit more out of the battery. And you do have what here in the notification center, if I could just get rid of that, you have what is called power saver mode, and what that does is disables things like tactile feedback, reduces the brightness a bit, the CPU and the CPU power, and does things like that to just save you a bit more battery. And usually I just have it on most of the time, just because I'm just either on Facebook, either reading a message or just watching a video, and that doesn't need so much power. But it's a very good experience on that front because you get this. One gripe I have had with the notification bar is that you don't have any toggles for this. So like you do on the Samsung devices, where you can just disable things quickly. Normally I have to keep one homepage just for disabling my mobile Wi-Fi, GPS, and things like that. And I kind of I wish they would have put something like that on the notification center. And the only thing you can really do is just sort of press the setting, and then it goes into the whole setting. Then you have to kind of disable it from there, which is a bit of irritation, but it does kind of make up for it because I put the home screen there. Now, one absolutely incredible thing that I wish every mobile manufacturer should do from now on is just the memory on this device. It comes in 32 and 64 gigabyte versions. It doesn't feature micro SD expansion, but because the baseline model, the very base model, is 32 gigabytes, you get a lot more memory. And usually, I'm a person who always buys the 16 gigabyte because I usually don't need more than that. But sometimes, if I would do download sort of like a very graphic intensive game where it's 1.5 gigabytes or something like that, and I download a few of them, it does tend to drain a lot of my memory. And for this, it has 32 gigabytes free, and I'm only using about something like 10 gigabytes at the moment. So it just creates a lot of free space and a lot of freedom to just download whatever the hell I want, really, without having to have any worry of it. So I think, especially nowadays when you're getting a lot of graphic intensive applications that take up over a gigabyte, or sometimes even getting towards 2 gigabytes, you just need more space. And to have this, it just makes it so much easier to download whatever I want without having any sort of worry about whether it's going to drain my memory. And probably a lot of you heard that the Samsung Galaxy S4, the 16 gigabyte version, has about less than 8 gigabytes available. So to have something like 32 gigabytes free and just use it for whatever I want without any worry, it's just a breath of fresh air, really. And it's just so much easier to use, and it's a nice feeling to have that memory, especially when you're getting to the point where a lot of applications need more memory now than they used to a couple of years ago. Now, overall, would I recommend this device? Absolutely yes. I think it's one of the best devices you could ever own. I think the build quality is phenomenal, the features on it are phenomenal, and just as a device for getting things done, it works great. It does everything I want it to and it does it quickly and without any hassle. It has some gripes, but every phone has some problems that need to be fixed. No phone is perfect, that's why you get different choices. But as a phone overall, if a friend gave this to me and said, "This is your phone," I would definitely not be disappointed at all. I mean, it's just a phenomenal phone to use. It does everything I want, and it's just absolutely great phone overall. And it's just one of the top phones on the market right now, and I think it really does deserve that place because it's just a great phone. I think it's an absolute phenomenal phone. It's very quick, very modern. That screen is absolutely fantastic. The speed of the processor is great. It just works and it just does things flawlessly. So anyway, thanks guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. Rate, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think. Any criticisms, any problems, anything I missed, please don't hesitate to leave that in the description, and I'll try to sort any problems out. Thank you very much. See you later. Okay guys, so this is going to be a direct comparison between the HTC One speakers and the iPhone 5 speakers. And then I'm going to play the same song again. I'm going to show you the difference between them. So here we got the iPhone speakers. Put into full volume. Okay, now I'm going to play the HTC One.
I tell you now I don't believe in any faith or creed, but I know there have been times someone was watching over me. A close call on the road makes you think about the days they would come and they would go. It's like I'm walking on a blade. The strangest rebel changed the way I look at the world.
test again. And now with HTC One. One of the features I forgot to mention is that instead of the multitasking bar, you have the home button here, and to get into, if you hold the home button, you get access to Google Now, anything like that. Tap it back in to go back home, and then if you want to go into multitasking, all you have to do is double tap the home button, and that gives you a grid layout of loads of 9 different total apps, so you can go back into, and you can quickly switch back into. So I can go into Google Now right now. Switch out, hang on. Switch out and go into something like my calendar. Let's go. So let's go there. It's very quick and very easy. One thing that I did notice about the HTC One's video quality is that at low light situations, it did tend to get quite sort of dark, and it didn't display things as bright as some other cameras. So it got quite dark, and it didn't display any of the images. It made it look darker than it actually is, and it just couldn't capture good video quality at nighttime in low light situations as other cameras like my iPhone or some other cameras that I do have. And even when I turned it to HDR to see if that made a difference, it actually got some sort of reddish tinge on it, which was quite weird.